What's up, everybody? So, figured it's probably about time to put a Season 5 build guide update together. I was going to do one using the Nature's Wrath chess piece artifact, along with Blooddrinker, since they just kind of synergize so well together. But after the devs put out their last Balance of Power video, talking about the May update, I had to change a couple things, just because one of the biggest changes they're making is to Shirking Empower, the Amulet perk. It's getting a pretty massive buff, and can't take advantage of that with Nature's Wrath. So we're back on Tumbler's feetwraps, still in medium build, but figured I'd showcase basically two builds I used to use months ago. But this is probably what I'm going to be using going forward, just because with mounts and everybody just flying everywhere all the time constantly, the chaos is a lot of fun, but it's almost mandatory that you have some kind of ranged weapon. Just double melee feels pretty bad right now. And especially playing against the freeform movement, like people not getting any kind of penalty for just direction changes, just doesn't feel great a lot of the time. And you have stuff like that where the server just randomly starts rubber banding really bad. Not sure why, but overall, in my opinion, the Hatchet feels better than it did. It's just the game itself overall kind of just randomly feels worse. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed these couple clips. I'll go over these builds here in a second. I hope you find it helpful, and yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I try to reply to everybody. I'll see you in Outpost Rush. Alright, go over these two builds real quick. One is Hatchet Inferno, the other is Spear Inferno. I did try out using fire harnessing, since we're back on the firestaff, but kind of miss some of the tankiness you get with the Frigid Dawn pieces. So using Frigid Dawn with Shirking Heels for the chest and for the legs. All of my armor has ignited opals. The helmet, Shirking Heels, Shirking Fort, and Critical Retribution. I run this on pretty much all my builds just because almost every weapon I end up using really benefits from extra crit chance. The gloves, I regret crafting these with fire harnessing, but I'm not going to craft two more sets of gloves just to change one perk. But I did want to get Refreshing Torrent somewhere on the build. If you're going to copy this build, I would definitely say go with Shirking Fortification here or another elemental version. The boots, nothing changed here. Shirking Heels on Tumbler's feetwraps. The amulet, I got rid of Stamina Recovery because Shirking Empower is getting a pretty decent buff. They're dropping the maximum stacks down to 3. But increasing the empower you get per stack to 7. So 21% empower from the only damage modifying perk you can put on an amulet is pretty much a no-brainer, I think. Still running Divine, get a lot of extra value out of our Shirking Heels and the life stealing from Blooddrinker with this. And I always run Thrust Protection just because I hate bows. Blooddrinker with Keen Awareness, again, crit chance, very important. We dropped Empowering Toast for Fortifying Toast just because we're going to be over the Empower cap pretty often already as it is. Regenerating and Refreshing, just two nice to have perks. I'll probably end up dropping Bile Bomb, I think, after playing some this season. More than likely Stone Form or Cannon Blast. I haven't really made up my mind which yet, but I just don't think I'm getting a lot of value out of Bile Bomb. The Hatchet, went back to Keen Berserk because they're changing how this is going to work. So you no longer have to worry about being below 50% health for this to be active, but you won't be getting the 25% base damage increase either. So how it's going to work going forward after the May update is additional crit chance and crit damage. So since we're getting even more crit chance, just be pretty dumb not to run Vicious, in my opinion, and Pen Backstab's just good on pretty much every melee weapon that you can put it on. We still go with the Moonstone on the Hatchet. Explained before, I'm not sure why it works this way, but it does. You can proc the extra base damage from the Moonstone, even while Berserk is still technically active. It's treated as if it's on cooldown, so you get the damage boost from Berserk and the Moonstone at the same time. But we'll talk about why in a second. You want to make sure you're running a damage over time rune glass. The firestaff, we don't really play it like a normal firestaff build. Kind of just use it for the burnout, just diving into clumps like a nut job, and also using it for just basically people trying to run away and knocking people off their mounts. The only thing that's different on the spear build is the gloves. Again, have fire harnessing on here, would not recommend. And leeching cyclone instead of refreshing torrent. The spear itself, fortifying perforate is getting nerfed, but as long as this is still like 15% per stack, in my opinion, that's still definitely worth it. Again, always pen backstab. There really wasn't any reason to go play Keely empowered on the spear, since we're going to be over empower cap the way we have this set up right now pretty frequently, and vicious wouldn't be a ton of value against especially heavy players, since this is a lot lower crit damage multiplier than the Hatchet and the firestaff. So the best way to affect the enemy's health bar for this is play crits. The Jasper is still very strong for the spear, since we don't have to worry about the 20% power from Berserk that you would get with the Hatchet. And they did fix the Rune Glass Jaspers, so you do get the full 3 stacks now instead of the buggy 1 stack version that we had. The stats are actually the same for both builds. 350 strength, 100 dex, 150 con are the thresholds you want to hit. Put the other 11 points wherever you want. The Hatchet, this is why I said run the Rune Glass, the damage over time Rune Glass on your Moonstone, because it counts as debuff, so every swing after your first swing gets a 10% damage bonus, but everything else is unchanged. The spear, I went back to my old spear build. The main thing you want to focus on is if you sweep somebody, perfect opportunity to make sure you get a full perforate hit, so you get max fortification stacks along with a 30% rend and 30% weaken. Just very strong ability overall. They are nerfing this passive, so instead of getting a flat amount of stamina back per crit, it's going to work more similarly to how this passive works, where you just get a boost to your stamina regen rate. But there's really nothing else on the tree I'd rather take, so might as well just stick with this, get a little bit of extra stamina. So for the firestaff, the only thing we know for sure they're changing is Flare is getting a damage buff. So if it's anywhere close to just what a normal heavy attack does damage-wise, then there's really no reason not to take this, because you can just shoot at people's feet, and even if you miss their legs, hitting the ground anywhere near them still gets you full damage and full burn stacks. So we drop the mana back on heavy attacks for now. If I keep playing this way and it feels like mana is an issue, the only thing I'd really be willing to drop would be the end of the fireball tree. Everything else definitely don't want to get rid of. They all really serve a purpose. But should be about everything. If you have any questions, again, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I see it.